Right, go live. And we should see comments coming in on this one. So fingers crossed.
Good.
If anybody sees us.
Who's watching?
Give that a minute.
Oh, it's live. It's live on my Facebook.
There we go. We knew we'd get there in some way or form. Let's hi everybody. Just bear with us because we're all having to get ourselves readjusted again. Well, I am. So let's just right. Okay. Yeah, always in these situations. Right. Let's move that there. Put that.
There
we go. How are we doing? Right. Let me see. Yes, we can see that there are people there. We'll be able to see comments coming in as well, which is all very exciting. Let me get the comments up. Apologies in the delay, everybody. Completely my fault. Let me see. Right, yes, I see comments there. Adam's there. Jax is there. How you doing? How you doing, Paul? We might as well flag it up. We were using a different software, and it's normally worked in the past, but now that I have two leading PRs with me that you want to give a really good impression to, it let us down. But we've found another way. But hey, this is better because we can now see everybody. Look, here we go. We'll flag some names up.
Adam Garland.
There we go. We have Adam there. How you doing, Adam? We feel so happy that we can now start. It actually feels like the hair show going on. Jax is there. How you doing, Jax? Nice to see you. We have Paul there. Good to see you, Paul. We've got all our platform crew coming in. That's what I love. We've got Francesca there. Emma Dixon's here. Adam. Yeah, great to see you. So that's good because we can get your questions in on this as well. So look, first up, heads up. Welcome, everybody, to Sharon Brigden and Laura Craig. Is it Craig, Laura? Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Give me the embarrassment.
We were sitting here for a bit thinking this ain't going to be going live. And look at the hair. They got it all blow dried beautifully and ready for us.
Shout out to the team at Russell Eaton.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to Luke and Jodie for doing our hair.
Well, let's give him, because you are, Robert Eaton now is a client of yours, isn't he? Is that correct?
He is, yeah. He's been a friend for a long time, and he's a neighbour. He's literally, their old salon is about a 2-minute walk from our office. And he and I just keep crossing paths on local events and various things. So then when he was opening his new salon, he wanted to chat to us about that. And we're like, yeah, we'd love to work with you. So it's great. So now
well, look, what we're actually got going on here. So this is a live stream, clearly, but it's also a recording for the How to Cut It podcast. So we are bringing Sharon and Laura on because not only are they both leading PRs in the hair and beauty industry, but also they're people that I've got to know really well too. And I like hanging out with them both. But we want you to bring in your questions. Now, we're not going to be taking too many of the questions as we go through the conversation. We'll bring them in a little bit later because we're going to be doing this as a podcast, and if we keep interrupting with questions all the time, it will stop the flow of it. But the idea of this one today is to give you some heads up tips on PR for the hair industry, how to get it out there, what is PR, why do we need PR? These are all the things that we're going to be diving into with this one. But first up, Sharon, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about who SLBPR are.
Well, we are a PR company, obviously, but PR and social media is what we specialise in. This year, well, last year, wasn't it? We moved into management as well. Primarily, we work in the hair and beauty industry. We have diversified over the years into hospitality, into retail, and into consumer-facing property. But last year, we made a decision to focus primarily on hair and beauty again, which is sort of where we're both from initially, and which is what we love. So yeah, we've been going for about 25 years between us, Laura and I.
Impressive.
Yeah, we started when we were 10, obviously.
But to be fair, you've got some great clients, and I'm going to just mention HairCon, aren't you? Is that okay that we can mention HairCon?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So you're doing the PR for HairCon, aren't you? This exciting new event. What's actually going on here, Laura?
So HairCon is a really exciting hair festival that is coming to Manchester on the 22nd to 24th of June at the Victoria Academy in Manchester. it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen before. We're going to have so many people that you don't normally see at trade shows. Some of them I can't mention just now, but yeah, we've got Noise. We announced that earlier this year, so that's massive. It's the first time that Richard's done it anywhere else in the UK outside of London, so we're really excited about that, aren't we?
Yeah, that's a good.
Loads of talent. Obviously, we're working really closely with the Fellowship. They've got some amazing headline brands like You, Figaro. We're working really closely with the guys at Salon Evo and Barber Evo on it. So yeah, I think it's something everyone's really excited about, and I think it's just going to be different, fresh, really cool. There'll be a great energy about it as well. So I think it's kind of,
there's so many. It's so exciting. We've got so many surprises to announce, like over the next, I suppose, 6 weeks, and it's just going to be like nothing anyone's done before, and having sort of several people, organisations involved that have never all worked together under the same roof either together before. So it's, yeah, we're really excited, and we're sort of desperate to tell everyone.
Yeah, and you've been drip feeding it out. I'm just going to turn this light down a little bit, actually. Yeah. You've been drip feeding stuff out, and you've been adding sort of different names all the time. And where's best for people to keep up on everything that's going on?
On Instagram, HairCon Show. So if you follow us there, all the kind of latest updates, all of that. We're also doing a series of weekly Instagram lives with Salon Evo and Barber Evo as well. So you can join them if you've got any questions for the talent on what they'll be doing, that kind of thing. That's your opportunity to kind of delve into that.
And hopefully on here as well, you'll be talking to some people as well, Dom.
Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping so. I mean, I'm really am so excited by HairCon, what it's doing, the venue. I was very lucky to have a look. Jane and Michael I had a call with, and they took us inside that. And I think anybody that's passionate about hairdressing lifestyle, you've got to be all over this, really. Manchester, June the 23rd, 24th, haircon.co.uk. Is that the right website as well, where to head over? See, I remembered there. So good. Right. Well, look, I can see a question coming already from Paul. That is absolutely brilliant. So do get these questions coming in. We're going to come to these questions at the end, because otherwise it'll make the podcast edit a little bit more tricky. So again, because it's going to go out into the podcast. But Paul, thank you. It's a good question. I'm going to keep an eye on them, and then we're going to come back to them. So all these questions, fire them in, and then I'll put them to Sharon and Laura as well. And they've got their Facebook in front of them as well. So let's kick off. Let's kick off firstly for people that maybe don't understand PR, Sharon. They may not understand the concept of it, and why it, and how does it apply to hairdressers. So maybe that'd be my first question. What is PR, and why does that matter? Basically,
in really, really simple terms, PR is your reputation, and that's it. That's the simplest. PR is how others perceive you and how you're seen through the eyes of other people. So that can be your clients, it can be product companies. I mean, I'm going to talk obviously hair specific. Clients, potential clients, product companies, your peers, people who work alongside you, potential staff. It's how they envisage you. It's how you present yourselves to them and how they envisage you.
I'll start that again. How does PR differ from traditional advertising, Laura?
So with PR, we don't pay for any coverage. So everything that we do is really authentic. It's working with people, I guess, who they've got a point of difference. So what are you doing that's different to someone else? What can we be talking about? What's really going to push your profile? It's getting your name out there without you actually having to spend thousands of pounds on advertising.
Advertising, I suppose, in a nutshell, advertising is paid for, PR isn't paid for. They normally go hand in hand, but you don't always need advertising with your PR. But that's what the big companies do.
Is there misconceptions about PR?
Oh, loads. Yeah, absolutely loads. And people get confused with what PR is. So we do PR, and we also do some management as well, which means that we use PR to build our clients up so that they're attractive to brands, so that brands want to pay for them to do Insta lives or do Insta posts or do TikTok reels and videos. and also that they want them to become ambassadors. And a lot of people think that's PR, which it isn't PR, to be fair. And it's not if you go to a PR company, I think because times have changed and that's become part of PR, but you can't go to a PR company and say, right, I want to be global ambassador of Schwarzkopf tomorrow. You just can't, because that's not a PR role.
That's a dream a lot of people hope and want, isn't it? I think there's, I guess, a lot of working with somebody like yourselves is actually giving them that journey and that map to realistic expectations, isn't it? Yeah. I guess as well, for a lot of people, they'll be thinking maybe there's that confusion of who they want the PR for, Laura. Is it for trade? Is this for business to business? Yeah. Is this to client? Do you work on both sides, and how does that look in terms of working with the consumer and the industry?
So we work across everything. It depends on the individual client. We'll have some people that really just want a trade focus. Their kind of main goal is to get ambassadorship with one of the big product companies. So I guess PR is kind of like your foundation, isn't it? It's your building blocks. It's building up brand you so that these brands take notice of you. And then with the consumer stuff, it's more kind of your sort of celebrity stuff, isn't it? A lot of it. A bit less kind of technical, less hair, more kind of focusing on trends, and really kind of what's just out there in the sort of the consumer eye.
We're slightly different to probably other PRs in the industry, as we have a really, really strong fashion focus. So we've built up a reputation over 10, well, probably more, is it? About 15 years at London. Well, we started at London Fashion Week, and we've worked in New York, Milan, and Paris as well. So we've got probably a big session edge to us that maybe some of the other PRs don't have. So we're respected in the fashion world for putting people forward for more session work, which then leads, whether they've got a salon or not, whether they work in a salon, it then leads to more session and editorial. So a lot of what we do is we'll build up people's profiles and then put them in front of an agent, like one of the traditional agents. So, whether that's Art and Commerce, Premier, we work really closely with, Streeters, the Wall Group. So we'll be building them up so that then they're attractive to an agency, and then the agency are the people who work on like your editorial. So they're the ones who get you your jobs with magazines or your jobs on big advertising campaigns. We don't touch that. So you don't come to us to get you a shoot in Vogue or a shoot in Elle. You come to us to build up your profile enough that those people start looking at you. We can get you, we can, if you're good enough, and it always comes back to the individual. Like we can get you, we do get people coverage in Elle and Vogue, but it's primarily around what you're doing. So a lot of it's around fashion week, because we know those people and they come backstage, then we introduce them to our artists, then they build up that relationship. But I mean, you've got to be top of your game, basically.
Well, that was going to be a question that I was going to just ask, and I'll put this then to you, Laura. Can anybody come to you if they have a budget and they come to you and just say, I want PR? Do you have to be selective? What is the process of working with a client and, to say, yes, no, you're not the right fit for us?
We're really selective in who we work with. I think a lot of it comes down to, we want really talented people that are passionate about what they do, but also people that they know their brand, they've got a point of difference. And I think just them really, I think a lot of it's a personality thing as well. Do you know, I think PR, like I speak to my clients, this is quite sad, but I probably speak to a lot of my clients more than I speak to half of my family or my friends. So you do really have that personal relationship with them. We might not be based in the salon with them or at the studio with them all the time, but we are basically an extension of their team.
Definitely. And I think the thing is as well is we like working with people who are quite disruptive, hence HairCon. And like when you came on the scene, like what they're doing, and they came and spoke to us, we're like, yeah, we're in. So we like things that we're quite disruptive, so we like things that change and like that are going to give a bit of a kick up. I'll say the arse of the industry.
Okay. We're past the watershed moment, so we can say that.
That's right. But we like people who are slightly disruptive. We always say like the punks and the rebels are kind of our people. So we like people like that. I mean, if you look at Jack and the Wolf and like Jack and Lydia, they're people who are quite disruptive and they're passionate about changing things and having a point of difference. And they're the kind of people we like. But I suppose the big thing that ties all our clients together is they're passionate, they are creatives, and they're hugely innovative as well. And whether that's brands or individuals, that I would say that's the kind of people who come to us.
Okay. And you say they come to you. Have you any examples of where you've gone to them because they have just stood out and you thought we need to work with you?
Hairpond is a really good example of that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Jack, to be fair, Jack and the Wolf and Heffy, so we look after Heffy as well. And sort of
Heffy Wheeler, that is.
Heffy Wheeler, yeah. I did the judging for Colour Genius one year, and I saw, and Heffy was one of the entries, and I read it, and I was and I saw her video, and I was absolutely blown away. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know of her very much before that. I was like, I love her. I really want to work with her. And then weirdly, because this is what the good PRs do, Sam Grocott messaged me, who's at Essence PR, and she's absolutely brilliant. And I think she was working at Fudge at the time, and she said, look, there's this amazing woman who's working for Fudge. She wants some PR. She goes, but I don't do individual PR. And so she passed me, she's called Heffy. I was like, universe, here we go. And then I met Lydia during lockdown. And I think, again, we'd been at an event. And again, I think it was Colour World. We'd been at an event. We all went out in Soho, a load of us. But it was when you still had to sit outside. And I started talking to her. And I was like, oh, my God, I really want to work with her. And then I saw her. I met Jack. She was with Jack, but I didn't really speak to him much. But then I saw them at the fellowship luncheon. And then we had another chat. And then she came to me and she just went, yeah, I want to work with you. I
think the other thing for me on that is not being scared to say no to people as well. I think some people, especially I would say when the big blowout was on, for example, we got a lot of inquiries about that. Obviously we looked after Jack before, we'd been working with Lisa Farrell as well, and we got a lot of inquiries off the back of that. And I think it was the cool thing to do off the back of that. Everybody wanted to have a PR, but I don't think everybody understood actually what a PR did. And I think it is just being scared. If you don't feel that a client's a good fit for you, which it doesn't mean that they're not amazing at what they do, they're maybe just not right for us. So I think
because that relationship, because you know, I always see, you know, when you're working with your PRs, you have a great relationship. You're good friends almost as well, aren't you? I guess that has to be a good fit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we've learned is I was thinking about this today, that it's like if one of us is wobbly, Laura or I are wobbly about someone, and it's happened in the past where I've had to convince Laura that we should take this client on, or she's had to convince me. And it's always ended where actually we probably part ways. And I was thinking about it today, I was thinking, if one of us has to convince the other one, then it's probably not the right client, because we should both be going, yeah, I want them.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even like chat to Laura about HairCon when they came to me, because I was like, I knew she'd love it, and I knew that I didn't have to chat to her. But if it's somebody I think I have to, and I don't normally do that. Normally everything's a discussion between us. But I think now when I sort of look back on those clients that we've had, that we've been with and parted company, and they've all been brilliant. They've all been absolutely brilliant at what they do, but it just hasn't been the right fit for us. I'm like, one of us has had to convince the other one that we should take them on. If we have to do that, then they're probably not right for us.
Now, there will be people that will sit around and they'll say, well, why do I need a PR? Well, there is, but there will be that well, you must hear this because everything comes with fees and costs, and that's great. I want to kind of hop back to, go on.
I was just going to say, going back to it, we had a call with a new client this morning, and they've got an agent as well. So their whole thing and their agent's whole thing was, what do you need a PR for if you've got an agent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there is, like Sharon said, there is a real difference between it. We're not going to book you on those editorial jobs, but we're going to get your name out there and make sure you're seen everywhere, so that then your agent has this portfolio of coverage. Look, this person's been seen in Creative Head, HJ, Vogue, do you know what I mean? Wherever, and they can take that to brands, and that ultimately makes you more sellable to the brands.
And you can say to the brand,
And you say that, and that's really interesting, Laura. You talk about that, because the thing in my back of my mind is, like, you talk about the brands. Is this the one that most of us kind of want, who come to a lot of PRs, in terms of that's the end goal? I want to get in front of a brand.
Yeah.
Is this what you're experiencing?
A lot of people do, and but and it's also different. It's it's whether they want to be an educator, or whether they want to be creative, or how they want to be with that brand. A lot of people want to work with brands. Obviously, there's only so many brands to hire people and to go around. But then we also work with brands, and we'll look for ambassadors as well. And it's getting that right fit. So I think a lot of people, I feel at the moment there's probably a lot of people go, I want to work with a brand because I'll make big money. And it's like, well, you won't necessarily. And also, we've had this conversation so many times, is a lot of people just see the big number that the brands give them. And actually, if you break that down in days, or you'll break that down to what you could make in a salon, it might not be as much as you think. You'll see that big figure that they offer you and go, well, you can get, I don't know, £25,000 a year from us. And you go, oh my God, that's amazing. But when you break it down to how many days you're supposed to do, or what you're supposed to do for it, and what you can make in a salon, it's like, you need to be a bit savvy, weigh it up. And we've sort of come in, haven't we? Like, we've had, over the last 2 years, I've done contract boot camp. So I've looked at contracts, and they're just not great. We've got with Lisa Farrell, this is like no secret. We've worked with Schwarzkopf on getting a global contract with Schwarzkopf, which we got, and we had Brabner's solicitors advise us all the way through. Brabner's are the people who represented Colleen Rooney in what's it called? Wagatha Christie. In Wagatha Christie. So they were our advisors all the way through. So I've done like contract boot camp with Brabner's, and they're still our advisors. So they're still there in the background behind us. So in terms of contracts, we have this sort of like amazing solicitor law firm that work with us and help us, because
you've got to get those things right, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely.
These are the things that people don't talk about, because if you're not protected by the contract or brands, And
I'd say it's massive. It's worth whatever. There's a couple hundred investment to get your contract right. It will save you money in the long run.
And I think a lot of the time in these contracts, there's so much jargon and like legal terms and things like that. Not everybody understands it. Do you know what I mean? So I think you do get some people that will end up signing their life away over like you said, like very little money for the work that they're actually doing, or the exposure that you're giving brands as well. Because I think social media is such a big thing now as well, isn't it? So with Instagram and things, people getting paid for posts, but I guess it's knowing your worth, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always think it's easier to kind of negotiate things, and it's easier to talk about money when it's not your own money that you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? If you've got somebody else pushing that for you, I think it makes it much easier. And I feel for some people, sometimes having conversations around money and their worth and things like that it's a bit, what's the word?
I just think it's too personal, too close, and it's really, and people. I mean, people find it uncomfortable, don't they? That talking about money, like how much to charge somebody. And I don't mean this in any sexist way, because obviously we're women, but I think women often find that harder to be honest about what they're worth. And if they get pushed, they're probably a bit like, yeah, okay, I'll do it for that. And you're like, no, do it, don't do it, don't step down, don't step. You are worth a lot more than probably what you think you are.
There's a lot of places out there to get seen, get heard, get watched. Has that made it a little bit more challenging almost in the world of PR? Because, in the older days, and probably when you were first starting out 25 years ago, it was more, you kind of went to your magazines and maybe TV. It was quite focused. How are you coping with those new challenges of so many different places? Like podcasts and bringing your clients onto all these different. Does that bring challenges, and how do you deal with those? And I'll put that maybe to Sharon on that.
I think it depends on the client as well. And then we say this a lot to say, if we go back to somebody who's salon based, who doesn't want to do the session, doesn't want to do anything like that, but they've got a really good salon and they want to be known for their salon, and then may panic about all the, oh my God, there's so many channels that I need to do social media on. So TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know, X, whatever it is. It's like, no, take a step back. There is no point you trying to create loads of content for TikTok if none of your clients or your target clients will ever look at it. You're just stressing yourself out. TikTok has to be populated all the time. You know, you need at least 3 videos a day going out. It's a big job. But if nobody who you want to attract into your salon is ever going to look at it, don't even use it. You know, like how many hairdressers do you know who use X? Hardly anybody, do they? It's not a channel for our forum, for our industry. Instagram is still the biggest one, and you know, and Facebook's still big. Lots of people love Facebook. It's a proper community. You can put a lot of information in a Facebook post. It's kind of step back. Don't think about who your audience is or who you want to attract, and then look at what they're doing. And some of it's really back to basics. It's you know, it's marketing. It's not just PR. It's marketing. It's like, where do your clients or your potential clients, where do they drink? Where do they eat? Where do they like to go out? Where do they like to shop? Is there something you can do in terms, I mean, the best thing about social media is you can collaborate with other people. You know, you can do, especially the collab posts are my favorite thing in the world, because you can share. So you can team up with like a florist's and do a collaborator post, you know, like.
I love that. Yeah, I like that. Because you don't hear people talk about these things enough, do you? Sometimes about doing this collaboration with another industry business completely removed from our own.
Yeah, and I think to me that's perfect, you know.
I think for me, it's just opened up a whole new world of opportunities. But I think it goes back to really knowing your audience and what do you want to do? Do you want to influence the industry, or is your end game to get bums on seats in the salon? Because that's 2 completely different audiences that you're talking to. So I think that if you're looking for a PR, I think you need to be really clear on what your goals are from it. I think a lot of people just are like, I want PR. They don't really understand what it is. So you need to think, what are your goals, and it's how can we help you achieve them. If you want bums on seats, then your focus is going to be on working with local influencers, working with your local press. It's not necessarily going to be an industry focus. If you want to influence the industry, it's going to be entering awards, coverage in trade magazines, all that kind of thing. So I think that's really important for you to be clear on what your goals are.
What about magazines? Where do we sit with traditional press?
I still think traditional press is great. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if you're creating collections, there's no better place to see your collections than in print. Online doesn't do it. You know, you can.
It's not the same impact.
No, it hasn't. No, not at all. You know, it's not as beautiful. It doesn't that being on that paper and seeing it. You know, if you get 4 pages in any of the mags, it looks amazing.
And I think for having in the salon as well, that's something tangible. Do you know what I mean? If you've got a copy of HD or Creative Head or something sitting there in the salon, you've got your work in it, and clients are flicking through that, and they're really impressed by it. And I think as well, there's something about, it's kind of like a sense of pride. Like if you've got a collection, we're always really proud of all the coverage that we get, but I do always feel personally, if I've got a really nice collection in a magazine, I feel like print definitely does it justice, and it just doesn't come across the same way online.
Do you work with media outlets as well? I know I saw, you know, a couple of, like Andrew Barton, I know good friends of yourselves, and coming in. But yeah, is the TV, that space, is that still a place that you try and work with, or is that become a bit of a distant kind of back in the day?
No, it is, but there's not a lot of opportunities on TV. You know, the TV thing's so narrow that hasn't seemed to have exploded in the way that social media has. Even though there's now 1 million channels, there isn't the opportunities for hairdressing that I think there should be. I think hairdressing is really ignored, and hair and beauty is really ignored on those channels. It's only when things go wrong, you know, it's like it's all the disaster type of programs where it's featured. So I think there should be. I mean, people love a makeover program, don't they? People love seeing that start to finish. You know, talking about Andrew, 10 years younger, it was phenomenal.
Oh,
It was
incredible,
yeah.
incredible program, and I feel people still enjoy that.
Yeah.
But things come around and they go. But I feel like we're in an exciting place for the industry. I feel like there are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
talking to my mum actually about who's a hairdresser herself, and she still listens to stuff, and she said, honestly, there's so many things to get and do now in our industry. So when she started out in the 60s, you worked in a salon, and that was your thing.
Yeah.
You didn't have all this content going
No.
back and forth. I mean, there isn't any excuses not to get engaged and excited. But I know a lot of our audience that will be listening and watching this, and there may be certain ones that are probably at that point they're feeling like, I'm ready to go. I've got a brand here that I want to go and put out there. It could be an educational course. It could be a book. It could be a podcast. It could be... Where does that process start for them? So if we just think about them, and they come to you, what's going to be the first steps that they need to establish with you to take them on that journey to where they want to get?
I think it's really establishing their goals, which sometimes can be a bit trickier than others, because some people will come to you and they're like a whirlwind. They want to do everything at once. So it's breaking that down and be like, what's the end game? And it's putting together like a journey plan of how we get there.
Does everybody, do you feel, have that? They actually know what they want, or do you just feel like they want the right?
It's like for a lot of people, it's unpicking what they want, because like Laura says, some people want everything. So you're like, okay, well, we can't do everything straight away. I want an education. I want to be an educator. I want to be on the front cover of this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be British Hairdresser. You're like, right, let's step back. So what out of all of those, which is the most important? So that's the most important. And so what you might do is you would say, right, in year one, we're going to do this, or in, it might be a month thing. So in the first 3 months, that's not really long. In the first 6 months, we'll go back to timing in a minute. But like in the first 6 months, let's concentrate on this, and in the next 6 months, let's concentrate on that. Because there is also the money issue. It's like, if you want all of this all in one go, it's going to cost you money. So it's going to cost you a lot of money. Let's not do it all in one go. Let's bring it back, and let's do it sort of bit by bit.
Can I put this one out there? It's the white elephant in the room, but you mentioned the budget, and you don't have to give an exact price. But is there a guideline that people have to understand? Look, to work with yourselves, they're going to have to expect something in this area of a fee, or is that too hard to answer?
No, I think we're probably quite open about our introductory fee, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we do an introductory fee of $500 for 3 months, and that's and then it goes up because you won't see a return on investment before 3 months, and it kind of depends what you want. That wouldn't be consumer, that would be trade, or it is different because if it's session, it's different because they want different things, so that's kind of different. But we wouldn't do anything under £500 a month.
It's an investment, though, isn't it? It's investing in your business. And I think for me, it is a journey. Almost goes back to how, if you get a client that comes in, they've had a complete hair disaster, you need to educate them on that. It is going to be a journey. You're not going to get someone that's got jet black hair lift into a white blonde and looking really healthy, shiny in one appointment. Do you know what I mean? And it goes back to education and that process and the understanding.
What about hairdressers that are looking for that press coverage moment, that golden moment? Is there anything there that's going to help increase their chance of getting some great press coverage?
Point of difference. Why are you different? What's different to it? And it doesn't have to be huge. It could, if it's regional press you want, you might have done a fundraising day in a salon. Regional press, love stuff like that. If it's getting into the trade press, I think turn it around. What would, as a hairdresser, what would interest you reading about other hairdressers? So why would somebody want to read about you? What are you doing that somebody else might be interested in?
What sets you apart?
What
sets you apart, or what advice have you got for people? I think that's a really big one, isn't it?
business is amazing. Hairdressers like to learn from other hairdressers about business as well. Like, but people like people, you know, we're all people. That's why we're in this industry. And I think for a lot of people, it's sort of like, you know, what have you done in business that worked? What have you done in business that went wrong? You know, Creative Head and Salon Smart do this great piece. Is that how I fucked it up, isn't it? It's like, and it's about what I did wrong, but then how I learned from that and what I did, how I made that better. And I think people like to learn from those experiences.
Makes
so then,
it real,
yeah.
doesn't it?
And, you know, in hairdressing as well, because everyone's small businesses, everyone's like an entrepreneur, an individual entrepreneur, and it can be quite lonely doing that on your own. So you want to talk to other people and hear their experiences. So I think if you've got quite a good story in terms of business, or you've got advice in terms of business, you know, I think now, especially like having lived through lockdown and everything, this, you know, if you've been going for 5 years or 10 years as a business, you're doing really well and should be really proud of yourself. And you will have a wealth of experience and knowledge that you can share with other people that makes you interesting and makes you somebody who other people want to listen to.
And I always know, certainly as a podcaster, stories for me are hugely important. And what you just shared there, Sharon, about people that they talk about their moments where it didn't quite go right, and you know, there's nothing about. I think showing our own vulnerability is really important, isn't it, in PR? But it's about having that hook. There was a point as well that I'm sure I remember, and I don't know if you're doing this still, but you're quite keen on maybe working with sort of maybe hair professionals that maybe on a slightly less budget, but they have all the talent in the world there. Is that something that you can still do and offer, you know, for those that maybe are on a budget that they just can't quite get to where, you know, that introductory rate, or, you know, or what advice would you give to those that can't work with yourselves at this moment in their career?
There's loads of other good PRs out there, you know, obviously we're the best.
I guess it comes down to the individual as well and what they're doing. If somebody came to us that was really, really driven, they were really putting themselves out there, and we could see that they really wanted it and they were pushing themselves, then it would be there would be a conversation, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
And if we couldn't work together on a sort of ongoing basis, we'd always be happy to offer advice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And there are people that we give advice to, and there are people that in the past that we've known that they've got potential to be a brand ambassador, or to be not even an ambassador, but somebody who a brand will want to pay for posts and things. So then we'd do it with a management fee. So we'd help them and take a management fee from anything that we could get them. And some people, you can just see that in it. It's like, you know, it's like everybody. Some people have got star quality. Yeah, and when you see it, you're like, right, we're having that. I'm going to nurture it. And we know where that's going. So it's different.
But we've met people backstage at Fashion Week, haven't we? And we've just seen such potential in them.
Yeah.
That we're like, we want to help you. We want to grow you.
Yeah.
We know that at the moment they've not got that budget, but can we work together like a little bit just now? Can we support you? So then one day they're going to be at that stage where they've got the money to do it. Do you know what I mean? We've invested time in them, so they can invest it back. But I think it would always just be a conversation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It would purely be on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Because you get some people that are really young and inspiring. Like I'm thinking of Lee Devlin.
Yeah.
Specifically, we met him backstage at Fashion Week last season, and he kind of just blew us all away, didn't he?
Yeah, he was brilliant.
He's doing absolutely everything. And we were like, we really want to work with you in some way. Maybe it's not just now, like maybe it's kind of later on down the line sort of thing.
We've kind of done that over the years. It's kind of been sort of people who've always been in our psyche. I mean, I think Kai Wilson's a really good example. Like we have never worked for Kai Wilson ever, but we have always worked alongside him. We've always got him work. We just, again, backstage at Fashion Week, met Kai, got on really well, saw an amazing talent. And just brought him into brands that we were working with. It was always like, if you need an ambassador, it's like, Kai's the person, you know, I want him to come and work for us. So we've always worked together, even though he's never been an SLBPR client, but we've worked with him with brands just because he was brilliant. And we've done that with, there's been other people that we've kind of spotted and gone, I want to work with her. I want to work with, you know, Lisa. I've known Lisa Farrell for a long time.
You mentioned Lisa Farrell, who has just, you know, what a name in the industry, Blowout, and now Ambassador with Schwarzkopf. And I guess that journey is it. And now you mentioned Lydia and Jack. What is it about these people that have that specialness? Is it that they're just amazing hairdressers, or have they got sprinklings of lots of other things like Andrew Barton, you know, star quality that shines through? There's got to be all these things that are just so PR worthy, but they've got that something. What is that something?
They're all really driven, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they know their brand, and they know what they want.
Yeah.
We might have moments where they're like, well, I want to do everything at once, but they do ultimately know what their end goal is and where they want to be.
And can I say the big thing about all those people is they work bloody hard. I mean, they really work hard. If they get offered a job, and they think it's going to work for them, they will do it. There's no, I mean, not that there should be, in the kind of people we work with, there's not a 9 to 5. But, you know, God, you know, the flights that Lisa are on, the times that all of them get up to get to a job on time, you know, 5 a.m. call times, working till midnight. You know, sometimes that I'm desperate to get an answer out of Lisa, but I know she's in LA. And so I have to stay up, you know, to try and get that answer out of her, because I know that when I'm not going to get it till she finishes on the shoot on that day, and I'm going to have to get it when she comes off the shoot. And I've probably got 5 minutes of her time before she falls asleep. You know, and the same with Andrew. Andrew, you know, if we need quotes for the press, and when we've done TV stuff, it's been like that. You know, it's been I think the thing is that journalists are on such tight deadlines, and the bigger the media, the tighter the deadline. News is, you know, like, honestly, working with the NHBF, obviously we do a lot with the BBC, and we do a lot with ITN, and we do a lot with the news coverage. We get 24 hours turnaround. If we're lucky, if we're lucky. And they'll be like, so I want a salon in the Northwest, and we want to film in there when they've got clients and when they haven't got clients. And we always joke, we're always like, God, it's a Devil Wears Prada, Harry Potter, you know, challenge. And most of the time we do it because we have a pool of people. But you've got to be hungry, you've got to want it.
It's taking the opportunities, isn't it?
Yeah, as they come. Yeah.
No matter what.
Could not agree more with that. I feel like I think the moment you stop saying yes, you've got to know when to say yes.
Yeah.
But the moment you feel like, you know, you're just not doing this and that, you almost feel like you're in a bigger place, and maybe what you are is maybe a time to start to look at yourself. But the one other thing that I would probably mention is that all of your clients and the people that are really got to the top, they're nice people.
Yeah.
They are. We don't work with dicks.
Yeah, which is kind of the floor, isn't it?
Yeah.
The office, don't work with dicks. Yeah, so.
But that goes a long way. But when you're looking in the industry right now, and is there anything there you think, gosh, you know, I wish somebody would look at that and take that area of the industry? Is there something missing, or should we be looking to the future? What could be real PR worthy?
What we think and what we can say out loud are probably two different things.
If it was recorded, we could edit it out, but we've got to be so much more careful, haven't we? Is there something in the industry where we could be looking and you're thinking, I feel like we really someone needs to take fill this part of the industry right now?
I suppose for me, I'm always disappointed there's not more women in the British Hairdressing Awards. I think that might be lazy judges. But I don't know. I don't get involved in judging, so I don't really know. I think as a award ceremony, it's good that we recognise people in the industry, and I think there's quite a lot of different awards now, which is really good. For a long time there wasn't, and now I think there's more diverse awards. So there's colour awards, there's different awards, but I think there's quite a lot of things that need a shake up.
I think one thing that I've really noticed from speaking to different clients that's missing is maybe awards that are kind of tailored towards the younger hairdressers, like the apprentices. Do you know what I mean? You've got the category at BHBA, and you've got Rising Star at Most Wanted, but you've also got all of these apprentices that are from smaller, more local salons that are really, really good at their job, but they can't necessarily compete with someone that's working in London that can go and assist on big shoots, that can go and work at London Fashion Week. So I think for me, from having conversations with our clients, I think that's definitely something that's missing.
But the fellowship are really pushing that at HairCon. that's one of the things they want to do, is sort of like get pushed through much younger talent.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the stronghold of our industry, but also, yeah, there's an older age group who'll come back into the industry. I always feel like that they need their opportunity. I think everybody needs their opportunity, but it's got to be within you, hasn't it, Laura?
Yeah.
It's like what you both said. We should never expect anything and just think it's going to land on our lap. And because we do a few social media posts and that we have huge views, it doesn't really account for much, because a lot of those views are going out to people who have no real connection to what you're going. But it's you've got to back all this up with some sort of, there's got to be a bit of quality and star quality in all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And also you've got to work hard. It's not easy. Getting a PR doesn't just sort of like make in fact, getting a PR, the first month you'll hate them, because all we do is ask questions. So until we get to know you, so we want loads of information out. We want all the information that you've got. We want to extract that out of you so that we can then and all your ideas, and then we decide where to position you, what magazines are right for you, which brands are right for you, who's doing what, who you should be working with, who you should be assisting, all that kind of thing. We need all that out of you. So
how do you deal with the not getting the PR exposure that you need for clients? Because those moments, does that happen? Because it must happen. It's in business things don't work. I mean, how do you deal with that with clients?
We're very honest with clients as well. We do say, like, if someone says to us, we've got this story and it's amazing. We are very honest, and we'll say that's not a PR story, that's an advertising story. So if you want coverage on that, you're going to have to pay. Not us. You're going to have to pay the magazines or the media outlet that you want to see it on. So I like to think we give proper advice. We don't just say, oh yeah, we'll get you everything. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm just going to come in because there are some questions. It's so wonderful talking to you. I know we had a right stressful ordeal getting to this, but it's been. So I'm going to go right back. And everybody, if you've got some questions that you want to sort of put in here now to Sharon and Laura, I'd love to see them coming in. So I'm going to go back to Paul. So Paul I'm finding a lot of PR companies in the hairdressing industry, I have not even read this, so I have no idea what it's going to say, don't seem to understand how big YouTube is. And Paul's a big YouTuber. I always get told to increase my Instagram or TikTok that are over 20,000 collectively. To be honest, I don't want to. I prefer my media to be on YouTube. Would love to hear your thoughts. Great point there, Paul.
For me, it goes back to what kind of brands you want to work with. Are the brands that you want to work with, are they advertising on YouTube? Are they working on YouTube? Or are they primarily pushing through Instagram, TikTok, that kind of thing? I definitely think there is a place for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just when you identify the brands that you want to work with, you need to be on those platforms, because that's how they're going to notice you. So if a brand that you want to work with isn't on YouTube, but they're really big on Instagram.
Is social media really the holy grail of everything?
I think there's been a massive change. I think there's a backlash against influencers who have no expertise or credibility. That kind of, we always joke about it, the influencers. I mean, like a sandwich, therefore you should give me a free meal at a restaurant. I think there's a backlash.
I've been trying that for years, but it just isn't working.
So weird. But I think there was, you've got to come from a place of knowledge. You've got to come from a place of credibility. There's a massive backlash against, or there should be as well. If companies aren't doing this already, they're behind the curve. Looking at people, how many followers somebody's got. Great.
It's not about your followers.
Yeah, it's about your engagement. It's all about engagement. You can have 1 million followers, but if none of that translates into sales, or you don't have good enough engagement, and there's, just to warn them, there are so many software applications now which we use, loads of different ones. We just run people through. We run influencers through these applications. It tells us how many of their followers are bought. It tells us what country they're from. It tells us, it tells us all that background, because it can delve into those analytics. So we look at it.
You've wised up now, brands and PR companies, to the ones that have gone out and bought bots.
Oh yeah. But not just bought bots, but they might have a massive following in France, but they're representing the UK. You're like, why would a UK company want somebody who's got a massive following in France when that's not your territory? It's like, and we can see people who've bought bots, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's really be mindful, everybody, on that one. Nergish is in. Hi, Nergish. She's just said, I think we at Fab Service Stars should possibly collaborate. We would love a chat and love this episode.
Oh, we'd love that, Nergish.
This is actually a really funny story, but I used to work with Nergish a long time ago when I went by my alter ego.
Yeah.
And
we love Nergish.
When I went by my alter ego of Snooky. It's a long story, Dom. I'll tell you another time.
There's another time. Could you tell in my face? I was thinking, right, okay, where's that? Okay.
But Nergish, look,
Nergish is amazing. Tony, is it Puccio? Is that right? Have I said that right, Tony? I know you come with it was good to see you, by the way. I'm currently working in a busy salon. Our boss is old school. No PR, no social media. He calls it the Whisper Factory. Works well for him. There is still a lot to be said for a little bit of old school, isn't there? What about crafting a press release? You know, if somebody, I'll tell you what I'll ask you. Talking of crafting, is AI, chat, AI, all this. Where do you stand on AI? Because obviously it's helping people craft, a press release, whatever.
I think it's like use it to your advantage. I don't think, for me personally, I think PR is all about your relationships.
Yeah.
Whether that's with clients, with press, whatever. And I feel like ultimately you're not going to be able to replace those relationships. There's no human connection. So I think work with it, use it to your advantage.
I think ChatGPT is brilliant. I use it quite a lot. But there's a massive but with ChatGPT as well, is that use it as a basis. Don't ever, whatever you ever put into it, just don't send it out as it is.
I am seeing it all over the place.
Yeah, I am as well.
If anybody I love it, but I know how to use it. I know how to prompt it now, and I use, I use something called copy.ai. It's expensive, but I like it. It's brilliant, but I can see people that are.
Oh yeah, I can. I just
take the Z's out and put the S's in. By the way,
and
revolutionise.
They just get it back on their desk, and I'm like, it's like, at least come on, read it through.
We are all. Honestly, it does. It makes me chuckle because I think, oh god, that's just gone straight through ChatGPT, copied it, and put it in. Use it, but I think sometimes actually crafting, because I'm sure you probably use it as well. It's great for PRs. It's great for us all because it helps us to. But it can take quite a while to get to the finished result with. I
think it's really good for scheduling as well. It's a really good tool for if you I don't know, if you want to put on an event or something, you want to do the timings, all that kind of thing, and how it works. It's really good for that, but it's not good on detail, and it's not good on it's only good on a press release if you just need to sort out where you want bits and pieces to go. But God, don't let it, and don't ever send it to a journalist what it writes, because you can tell if you write for a living, you can tell at a glance. But why I love it, because obviously on our trade side, in terms of our trade PR side, there's obviously loads of this in our PR trade media about, oh my God, it's going to kill jobs or whatever. And it's like, no, because what I think is all the lazy PRs are just going to send it out as is, which means all the journalists are going to read it and put it in the bin, which means ours, which is crafted, are going to go through. They're going to get through that gap, because it will just end up as I don't know what to call it, sort of like fodder, it'll just be, it's just the rubbish, and it's just the things that the journalists will just sort through, chuck it in the bin, and they're like, oh, this is properly written, I'll read this one.
There's a lot of laziness out there in all forms, isn't there? I appreciate times, we're all busy, but journalists and everybody, we're all probably a bit guilty of doing stuff a little bit lazy and slack. But if you're very serious about what you're doing, you've got to do it right, and that's certainly working the PR. And there's always zillion and one questions that come in, and we've gone into very long territory here, but I don't care because I'm having fun hanging out with you both. Just a question as well, actually, PR events, actually being at events. What's your take on that? Networking, getting out, talking to people, building relationships. Do you have any words on that?
It's the best thing you can do. You never know who you're going to meet. To me, it's the pinnacle. If you want to be seen, you have to be at events. It's not like, I know people go, oh, they go to opening of an envelope, but you never know who you're going to meet. The chance meetings that we have had with people in the loos, outside, just somebody introducing you to somebody else. We have because obviously, I mean, I appreciate a lot of them are expensive, and so that can be sort of like prohibitory to a lot of people, and I do think that's not fair. I do think there should be options for different ticket prices maybe for things, but our accountant, who is really tight on everything, never quibbles about the amount of money we spend on events. And I'm always like, why do you never quibble about that? But you'll quibble about the, I don't know, £10 I spent on lunch the other day. Why do you not? He's like, she always come back with clients. He says, you go there and you treat them like supermarkets. You go in, you chat to people, and we have said this to other staff, haven't they, that we always have an agenda. There's people we want to meet, there's people we want to talk to, there's things we want to find out. And we work the room because we're PRs. So we want to see the press, we want to see people like you, we want, and we want to hang out with our mates as well and our clients. But you need to go in there with almost sort of like, who would I like to meet? And you'll get to meet them.
I think as well, for the people that maybe can't afford to go to everything, I still think social media is a really great tool for networking. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got so many great communities on there that people can they can ask questions. You've got such a good support network. And I know for people like Heffy in particular, that's how Heffy does the majority of her networking. And she's really managed to just grow her brand and her business through kind of connections and things that she's made online.
I will shout out How to Cut It platform. That is exactly where we're going, because I think the connections are, without a shadow of a doubt, the most powerful thing. And then put in the magic of working with PR like yourselves, and the opportunities are there. And look, as we're coming towards the end here, and I've just seen a post here, Adam Garland. Adam, we never did get our podcast done, did we? So we must get that sorted. I think about 6 months ago we were going to get that done. So I'd love to get that set up. I think we're having a few things at that time. But you ladies work non-stop, ultimate beast mode. Love that. Adam does great things in the world of fashion, doesn't he? What are your goals for SLBPR? Great question.
We want to expand globally. That's our big thing. We were looking at Europe, and then a chance meeting, because we talk to everybody and have chance meetings, a chance meeting has opened up the US for us. So we were working, and this is Adam to thank for this. So Adam, we were working at Fashion Week with Adam last season. Adam we were working on the Asai show, which Asai used to work under the Fashionista umbrella, and then you can only be there for 3 years, and then was out on his own. But they took him back to do Fashion Week for just one season. So there was 4 shows instead of 3 shows at Fashion East. A guy called Mark Hampton was heading up 3 shows. Adam was looking after Asai. So we went off to Asai. Because we're who we are, we said, let's go over and meet the hair lead for Fashion East. Went over, said hello, knew loads of people on his team. So we chatted to him for a bit. Then we were outside. I was outside waiting for a cab to go to another show. Mark came out, we started talking to him. He's based in LA, but he's originally from Wales. He went through the Sassoon School, so we knew loads of mutual people. He was like, well, I could do with some representation. So we started talking to him, had several Zooms with him, didn't we? Then stalked him a little bit on Instagram, and we're like, oh my God, he's married to Christina Ricci, the actress. But then by that point, we'd already said, let's all work together.
Yeah, we want to work with him.
So now we're representing him as well. So now we have
Exciting
him.
Exciting times.
I think the thing is, you just never know who you're going to meet, and I also think it's been nice to everyone as well, because
you don't know who they are.
You don't know who they are.
It's my biggest tip to everybody: just be nice, be decent. Back it
and
up.
One of those people are going to come around again.
You don't know who they know, who they're talking to.
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't know where those opportunities. So whatever you're doing out there, keep at it. Even if there's just one person watching, or you don't feel like there may just be that person who's looking in, and they may feel that you're the right fit. Okay, so one golden nugget for us all to sort of just take from this. So one sort of sentence that you'd probably share on everything that we've kind of covered in this podcast.
Oh, that's a hard one, isn't it? I think believe in yourself. Believe in what you're doing. you know, and
it's like know
what you are,
know who you are, know what your brand is, know what you ultimately what you want to achieve. I think it's really important before you think about approaching a PR, whoever that is. You need to have some kind of idea of what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and don't worry about everybody else is doing around you. Just if everybody else has got PR, it might not be the right time for you. It's what Laura says. You know what you want, and that because you need to tell your PR what it is.
I think something we've not mentioned as well that I just want to touch on really quickly is a lot of people don't realise PR is a two-way street. So we'll come to you and we'll give you things, but we need that input from you. And it can be time-consuming, can't it?
Yeah, it can. Yeah. So
a lot of the time you'll have people that will take on PR and then actually I don't have time to answer any of your questions because I'm so busy doing other stuff. So I guess it's just having
and that could be frustrating. So you need to get the information yourself because you can't just, again, people have got to put in the work if they're working with a PR, is what you're saying here, Laura, isn't it? That you can't just sit there and think, well, okay, this is who I am, this is what, go off and do it. It's a two-way. Yeah, I think that's a really, really good way. Like I say, I see Simon here, Simon Townley from Hair Socials. How you doing, Simon? He's put, it's great for responding to clients, for asking them to leave reviews. That's obviously about the chat. Simon put, I need a PR. He's put a laughing emoji. I feel like Simon does. Simon does some amazing things out there, certainly with Hair Socials.
Simon does need a PR. I think he's doing great things as it is.
Simon, you need a PR. Get in touch with these two delightful ladies. And Paul as well, you know, Paul on YouTube. I've got to say, Paul, sometimes I feel Paul kind of goes under the radar from, like he said about the Instagram and TikTok sort of area, but actually on YouTube he does amazing things. He gets huge traction, a big thing there, and definitely I'd like to see people like, you know, Paul really start to get that credit. But he did at the Colour World. There is a question. I'm sorry, everybody, if we're going a long time here, but it's just come into my mind. And obviously, we have How to Cut It platform. If you haven't signed up yet to How to Cut It platform, come in. We now have free membership as well if you want to come in. And this is going to be a real place of where networking and connections is happening big time. But one of our members, Danny Bennett, she asked a question in platform. And she said, can you ask about this? And it's about entering awards. It's a question that comes up quite regularly, Sharon, Laura, you know. How can I enter awards, you know, and I don't have a huge budget. What advice could you give when it comes to models, shooting those images? What would your answer be quickly-ish?
Oh, I'd always say get your models right.
And spend your money on your models.
Yeah.
Your models and your photographer are the most important.
So, but and then I think, but I just think be clever. Like choose. There's different ways. Even the big photographers do sort of kind of smaller packages where you might shoot with other people. So look into it and always talk to a photographer. There's so many like big photographers I know that have done jobs for people because they've liked their creativity. They've liked what they've brought to the table. So know what you want to shoot. Have your mood board. Know your direction because you need to be able to instruct who you've got. In terms of makeup, I'd go to the local college, go to your local universities. You'll probably get some good models at your universities as well, because all the fashion students will be using those people in their portfolios. So I'd say work with those kind of people. They've got photography. If you've got a good uni or a good college near you, they should have photography students. If you're really on a really low budget, talk to these people. But what you have to do to make that work properly is your vision has to be very, very strong, and you have to be able to command that. And then when you're know the look, have practice that look non-stop, so that as soon as you're in front of that camera, because if you're paying somebody, that's costing you money. All that time on set is costing you money. You do not want to be in the back room doing hair all the time, and there's a photographer, an expensive photographer, just stood there doing nothing. You want to have banged out that look as fast as possible, and then you want other people recreating the other look, so that you're always on set and you're looking through the monitor at that look. And then there's certain styles that if you're doing something avant-garde and it's only going to be shot from the front, then don't bother about the back. Get that front bit right. Just I think
and pick your awards. Pick your awards. You may not be the right fit for that awards at that time. Look at the criteria. Look at what there are. So many. There are loads and loads of competitions and awards and different ways to get involved. So I think just pick that. But as you're talking to me, my head's thinking, you know, there's something here to a little day course of bringing people together on a conversation like this. I think that there's a lot that we could show people on, you know, PR creating that result in a day. I don't know. Over on my head. Could be talking more on that one.
We're always happy to talk to you. You can bring us back again.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. I've loved it. I love you both in what you're doing. I enjoy hanging out, and always, if you see Sharon and Laura apart, certainly at awards, they're always dancing well.
They're always partying.
They were giving it more than a 2-foot shuffle, I could tell you. They were right on it. The PRs, I tell you, they know how to party hard. Last question. Thank you, everybody, by the way, hanging out. It's been really good. I'm actually glad that we came in through this software because I've enjoyed seeing the comments coming in, which we wouldn't have been able to do on the other one. I need to go and have a look, see what's gone on there, because there was a bit of a here you go. Right, a question. Completely, lastly, pick a number between 1 and 10.
8.
Okay, so you could both, right, number 8. What's your go-to guilty pleasure food?
Oh, guilty pleasure.
Mm.
Oh, I don't know what guilty pleasure is.
Yeah.
Wine. Is that food?
Wine can be food, can't it? Yeah, Laura, have you got a go-to guilty pleasure food? If it's wine, that's fine.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
everyone knows me. I've got the diet of like a 5-year-old.
If it's beige, eat it.
Love it.
That's Laura.
I love a dirty burger. So that's everybody else. That'd be, you know, what would be your go-to guilty pleasure? Right. Just a question. People want to work with you. What's the best way of going about that? Where do they reach out?
Probably DM us on Team SLBPR on Instagram or email. Either it's the same, so it's Laura or Sharon at slbpr.co.uk.
Awesome. Well, look, thank you so much, the pair of you. It's been
a
very long conversation, but who cares? I keep saying that. I love it. If it's good, keep it going. So it's been really enjoyable. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, by the way. It's been really good having you all hanging out. All right, so let me just hit that finish button.